What's going on, Guitar Grappler here. I want to build a custom Kiesel guitar today. Not because I can afford one or should even get one at this point, but it's fun to build. Whenever I made both of my two custom Kiesels that I have, they didn't have this option to be able to customize. Like, I had to kind of use my imagination, you know, and just kind of hope for the best. And what I came out with was pretty good. Like, what I had in my head just by looking at pictures of different woods and stuff, colors and whatnot, whenever I actually got the guitars in, they actually came out how I pictured them, which is, I was a little nervous, you can't lie. And it kind of adds some of the fun too, because you kind of hope that it comes out to be the way you want it. Whereas this builder's like, it's excellent. I mean, they're really on top of it. So let's look at some of the options that they have. Whenever you start, you get into it, you have your electric or acoustic. I think they only have a couple of acoustic options. Yeah, a Zeus and a nylon. So the Zeus is a cool headless classic. And then they have a nylon string classical, which for some reason the picture's not working. Could be my internet. Oh, there it goes. All right, so we're not gonna build an acoustic. We want something that shreds. We want an electric guitar. So I really like the DC. I like the shape a lot of that. But the classic is the Aries for Kiesel. Now, I'm building as if there's no limit financially and I can afford whatever I want. So I would do a Aries neck through. I would build probably 100 different guitars if I had all the money in the world, you know. But if I just had enough just to build one guitar, I'd build what I'm about to build right now. So, okay. So we'll go with the Aries neck through, and it's pretty cool because you can see the back and everything. You can go back and forth. I mean, they did a really great job, like all the details and the wood grain and stuff you can see. So, all right. And oh yeah, they also have the artist signature models, which is something that I'm not a big fan of. I just never want to play somebody else's guitar. So dexterity, I'm gonna go with right hand, 6 string, but they have up to 8 strings. Multi-scale, if you wanted to get the multi-scale. I'm not gonna do that. I play mostly in like standard and drop D tuning. So multi-scales and stuff really doesn't make sense for me. Scale length 25.5. That's my go-to. I'm surprised they actually don't have 24.75 inch scale, but you know, well, let's see. I can get the 26.5. Yeah, they don't seem to have it. You know what? I'm kind of curious now. Let's see. What is the... They do have more of like a Strat style. Well, you know what? 24.75 would be more like on something like this, the single cut. So let's see if that's an option now. Scale length. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so you can get that. It just depends on what guitar you get. So whenever you have like a more Gibson style guitar, you can get that 24.75. So there you go. But we're gonna stick with 25.5. That's what I'm used to. So you can get a soft case or you can get a hard case. The ideal thing in your head, you're like, I want a hard case, something, you know, that's gonna protect the guitar. But surprisingly, the Kiesel soft cases are like miles better than any hard case I've ever had. They just really fit the guitar really well. There's tons of padding. There's a backpack on it, so you can wear it as a backpack if you want to travel. They're extremely, extremely nice. And they come with it. I almost said free, but nothing's free, right? So that's cool. Wood finish, let's see, body wood. So let's just take a look at some of these. I'm pretty plain, and I'm going to go with the Koa looks cool. I'm going to go with the alder because that's just... I have my purple Kramer back there is mahogany. It's a mahogany neck and mahogany body. And it's probably the lightest guitar I own. Now, I'm curious to see how light Swamp Ash would be because I know that's known for being light. But I feel like the tone between my Kramer and my other guitars that are alder, there's really not much of a difference. The difference is the weight to it is something that's noticeable to me. So let's go with alder. Top woods, I don't really go with all that because I usually have a plain paint job. But it's very cool, you know, to get the flame, because once you put paint on top of it, let's see. Okay, I'll just show this as an example. So, finish. You know, whenever you get something flame, you'll be able to see it in the wood. Okay, sure. So there's a lot of different customizations you can get. But you see how you could see the flame? I mean, it's very, very nice. Not my style, but it is a very nice option if it's something that you want to get. So let's go back to the wood. Bodywood alder, top wood. And I'm going to get none. But they have a bunch of different options. I mean, they get up to $400 for some of these, like the poplar burl, quilted maple, burled maple. But it really adds like a whole nother texture to the guitar, if that's something that you're into. I like seeing when other people do it, just not for me. So, all right, let's go to the finishes. So here's some of the colors. You know, my one like gripe, I guess you could say, is I wish they had more colors. I don't know what else I would want. I mean, they have a decent amount, but it's almost like you just, you know, it's like never enough, right? But they do have some very nice color options. I really like this Kiesel green, so let's go with that. Although, let's take a look at some of these metallic ones. The metallic are just going to have kind of like a little sparkle in them. This one's very nice, but it adds $200. And then translucents. Oh, so you need a top wood for the translucent. And now they just added this, the sparkles, which are it's $650 added, which is crazy. I mean, very expensive, but it is very cool looking. I mean, that's sparkle to the next level, right? And I do like that, but it wouldn't be my first choice. So we'll go with the simplistic Kiesel Racing Green. And so you even get to choose what kind of logo you want. Do you want it to be just plain white? Drop shadow with the black. I like this. And then they have abalone. So we'll go with the drop shadow black on white. Now, top coat. Do I want satin or do I want clear? I like clear gloss. Satin's nice too though, but I feel like satin wears pretty easily. Like when you play in one spot, it kind of smooths out the satin. But it is a very nice feel, you know, before you run it out. And if you actually have a painted neck, it's even nicer because then you got that nice satin finish on the back of the neck. It's very, very nice. So let's say the top coat, and then okay, so additional. So you get the burst edges and stuff, which is cool, but not for me. Okay, so yeah, a lot of these you need top woods and whatnot to get. So we're going to revert back to that. Neck options. So the neck wood, you know, I'm pretty simplistic, but let's pretend I have all the money in the world. I'm going to go ahead and get a 7-piece. Supposedly, the more wood that's in the neck, the more stability it has. And it's just a stronger piece of wood, supposedly. So I'm going to go with that. And I believe I learned that from Jeff Kiesel. They have a really cool thing. I mean, he goes on like once a week and talks about all the guitars and some of the processes, which is a really cool thing to do for, you know, your customers, to kind of give them some inside information on things. So number of frets, we'll go 24. You can get the thinner neck profile, which I will not get. I know thicker neck profile is an option, maybe on a different guitar. I don't know. So fingerboard woods. All right. So this always makes a huge difference on the guitar. I'm very curious about this rich light diamond black. I mean, it looks just like the ebony less color variation, which is what I would go with. But I'm curious what the difference is between those, because they look the same, and I wonder how the feel is. I guarantee you it's not much of a difference, and I guarantee you this rich light was made to kind of copy the ebony and be a little bit cheaper of an option. Since, I mean, it's $30 cheaper. But, you know, I'm not worried about money right now. I'm rich, super rich. So this flame maple and roasted flame maple are absolutely gorgeous. I had this on one of my builds that I had. And this fretboard is just like, you can just sit there and stare at it. You know, it's beautiful. But on this guitar, we're going with a ebony fretboard. All right, and then radius. I like a 12 by 16 compound radius. Let, you know, it kind of fits your hand better as you move on the neck. But you have a multitude of options here. Inlay shapes. So I already know, because I've created them before. I really like the crescent moon. And in order to do that, you need to pick an acrylic. So I'm gonna pick the white acrylic, and for the shape. So they have the plain crescent moon. I really like fret markers. I want to see where I'm at. The dots at the top only do so much for me. Now, Kiesel also has luminlay dots at the top, so they will glow in the dark, which is pretty cool. And you can even get luminlay dots on the fretboard as well, which is pretty cool. But you can't do, like, I don't think you can do the crescent moon. And maybe you can, but you would have to call in, and then I'm sure you'd be paying out your ass for something like that. But this is pretty cool looking. I like the way the moon looks on the 12th fret, and I really like the staggered dots. That way when you're playing your lower notes at the top, you know, your fret markers are at the top, and then typically when you're playing right here, you're going to be playing the higher strings, so you have your markers at the bottom. So we did this, and you can get really crazy with it. I mean, red, you know, green to match the green. It's very cool, but I like classic white. So what kind of frets? Stainless steel jumbo, medium jumbo. I'm not too particular when it comes to that. And then for the back of the neck, we're gonna do tongue oil, or I could do painted gloss and just go straight through. It's an extra $200. But, you know, if you're paying for this, and then you can do 7. If you're paying for this 7-piece neck, I would suggest not painting it. And then they just kind of cut off the paint right there. You can slightly feel the difference between the neck and where the paint starts, but it's nothing that affects playability whatsoever. So, yeah, you want to show this off if you're paying for it. But if you get something cheap and you want to get the neck painted, by all means. Most of my guitars now have the neck painted. And I know a lot of people don't like it because it kind of gets sticky if you're playing live. I don't even play live anymore, so playing in my room doesn't really bother me. And then I'm going to go with this. You have to go with the reverse headstock. If you want something shred, metal, badass, this is the way to go. And this pointed angled one is probably the best, in my opinion at least. The inline is pretty cool too. And then let's see. Just kind of take a look at all of them. So this is pointed angled, and then the reverse. I'm not a big fan of this one. It just doesn't. It ain't for me. None of these are. I really just like inline, just classic shred. You know. All right. So that was headstock shape. Now we go with overlay, and you can do this if you wanted to overlay something on the fret. No point of doing that on this guitar. We want it to be plain. Match the body. All right, truss rod cover. So it's pretty cool. If you want to get crazy with it, you can engrave something. Ebony. You know, we're just gonna keep it simple. So I never did it before, so let's see. So you have 2 lines. We're just gonna put shred. You don't get to preview it, but you know, it's cool. Submit. Yeah, you don't get to preview it. Just use your imagination, I guess. And it's engraved in there, so I'm pretty sure if it's engraved, it's going to be pretty light. You'd have to see it in person, anyways. Like, you won't be able to see it if you're from the distance, I would imagine. I don't know. All right. So got that. Now we're going to. So you can get scallop fingerboard if you're playing a bunch of Ingve stuff. That's an extra $400. Definitely not gonna do that. I've actually never even got to play a scallop fretboard before. I'm very curious to what it's like. I'm sure it's pretty cool. So active or passive pickups. I'm gonna go active, and then have to go with the Fishman Fluence. To me, there's not a better pickup in the world. It's funny because none of my guitars have it anymore, but the Fishmans are incredible pickups. Very versatile. Granted, I just use one setting and I'm good, but that one setting is just so, they're just very clear, distinct pickups. Like, you can hear every single note. I was blown away. I never thought that they would be as good as they were, and I thought it was like a lot of marketing until I played one, and then I was like, man, this is where it's at. So they're not cheap though, extra $200, but that's what I would definitely get. You could delete the tone and stuff. You have so many options with the Fishman's that I wouldn't want to delete it. I'd like to at least keep it and get all of the voicings that it has with the push-pull and all that stuff. So, I mean, I guess the tone, it would still, so what they would probably do is put the push-pull on the volume, so you'd still be able to get all your voicings and everything. You just wouldn't have a tone knob. So, this is what I would do. Get this volume knob way out the way. I just like it out of my way completely. Although the Aries already has it in a good spot. It's not all up by your hand, you know, where you're hitting it and stuff. But I just like I like the way it looks cleaner, and I like this just out of the way. So why not? $100, add it on there. Then you delete the net pickup, which I like on a lot of guitars, but I wouldn't suggest it for when you have Fishman's. So bridge, definitely got to go with the Floyd Rose. People like the hip shot tremolo. I had it twice. Wasn't for me. I just like a locking Floyd. Like I wanted to lock in and I just feel like the tuning stability is better. So we're gonna go with that. Hardware color. This is kind of odd because I don't know why chrome and black would have to be a different price. I don't feel like the black is that much. I really don't know. Gold. I mean, I can imagine gold being a little more rare. And the gold looks pretty cool with this, but I think I'd have to go with the classic black. And now that I'm looking at it, this looks like I would want to, let's see. I want to go back and find the logo. Oh, there it is. So, I think I might go with a white with the black drop shadow, since there's a lot of black on it now. It's just my preference. Maybe somebody at home's like, no, go back. It looked better the other way. All right, and then you have a choice. What do you want to do with the knobs? I kind of like these knobs. I like the black with the white pearl inlay on it. It's, I mean, a little tacky, but I kind of like it. On this guitar, I think I'll keep it though, just plain black. But I do put these on some of my other guitars that I have. All right, so knobs, strings. I like 9 through 42. It's funny that this is super light gauge, and I guess if you're playing heavy, like low tunings and stuff, it is. But I always thought 9 through 42 was like your standard string gauge, and that's what I play with. Dunlop strap locks, can't go wrong with that. It just makes it much easier if you want to take your strap off, and it holds it on there. You don't have to worry about your strap just falling out. So you can change the tuner buttons, which is pretty cool. Not on this guitar, but cool option. And then the cavity cover on the back, you can kind of spice up the back of your guitar. This is something more if you have like tons of different woods and more to accent the woods. Because I got mine, I have mine painted like this. It doesn't really do much for it. And let's see. Oh yeah, so the tremolo cover as well. You can do the same thing if you want to get spicy with it. I mean, the ebony looks kind of cool. Let's just do that. Why not? Electronics, ebony. Look at that. The only bad thing is because it has the battery compartment, you can't do that for the battery compartment. So kind of throws it off a little bit. So we'll keep that. I mean, I don't think there's any way around it for them. It wouldn't make sense for them to start stocking these pieces in like ebony and stuff if they even make that. Just doesn't make sense. Okay, so that is the guitar. So I just like, man, you can kind of go back and forth, and this is like, this will be pretty much exactly how it looks. Like, it's just, they did such a great job on this builder, and I really wish they had it whenever I was building mine, or whenever I could afford to build mine. One day, maybe I'll build one. The only problem is their pricing is going up because, you know, the world's pricing is going up. Not to mention they're growing as a company, getting bigger, having more demand. When that happens, they can charge a little bit more. And they're still cheaper than like your Jacksons and ESPs. Really, this price right here is about your starting price for one of those. Not to mention the lead time is probably double as long for those companies. So all in all, I definitely suggest Kiesels. They make excellent guitars. I really wish I could have this guitar. Maybe one day I can. So I appreciate you watching. Go on there, build yourself a guitar, and you just have to explain to your wife if you pull the trigger and buy one, you know? So I appreciate you watching. Keep on shredding.